Hey guys, so in the last project, VidJot, we went ahead and we used a local MongoDB instance to develop on, and then when we finally got to the end and we deployed our application, we switched to MLab. Well, we're going to do things a little different in the Storybooks application. We're going to create our initial dev database in MLab, and then we will create another additional one in MLab for production. So we're not going to be dealing with the local database in this project. So I'm in my MLab interface here, and I'm just going to click Create New, and we're going to choose Amazon again. So let's grab that and click Continue. I'll choose US East and Continue. Database name, I'm going to call this one Storybooks-dev and Continue. All right, so we'll submit our free order, and that's going to create our database. Okay, once this turns to a green check, then it's all set. So let's click on it. Let's go ahead and add a user. So say add database user. I'm just going to use Brad, like that, and create. All right, so now we have our dev database set up on MLab. Now we're going to be moving a little quicker with this project because in the last one in VidJot, I kind of took baby steps really and tried to explain every little thing that I could the best way I could. But now that you know a lot of the fundamentals, like how to create routes, how to set up Mongoose, things like that, how to create models, I'm going to do a little bit less explanation because this application is a little more complicated. It has more code. So I'm going to focus more on the more difficult stuff that we haven't gone over, like Google OAuth and things like that, rather than just reiterating the same old stuff about routes and middleware and you know, stuff like that. So we created our database. Now what we'll do is create our application. So in my projects folder, alongside of the VidJot, I'm going to create a new folder called Storybooks. All right, and we're going to go ahead and open that up with VS Code. And we'll just snap that over here. And let's go ahead and open up our terminal in VS Code. So I'm going to do Control tilde. All right, and of course you don't have to use this. If you're using a different text editor, you can use a different terminal or whatever it is you're using. Just make sure you're in your Storybooks directory. So let's go ahead and do npm init. All right, so we're just going to enter through most of these. Description, we'll just say app to share. We'll say share public or write private stories. Entry point, we're going to do app.js, and we'll just enter through the rest here. All right. So if we look at our package.json, it should look something like this. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add a start script right away. So let's replace this test here with start. And to start it up, we'll be able to say node app.js. All right, we'll go ahead and save that. So now what we want to do is install a few things. Now we know we're using Express. We know we're using Mongoose, we're using Passport. I don't want to install everything right now. So what I'm going to install right now is just Express and Mongoose. Okay, so let's do npm install -- save Express and Mongoose. All right, so you can see that those two things have now been installed. Let's close that up and let's create our app.js file. All right, so in our app.js, let's go ahead and bring in Express. And we're going to bring in Mongoose. Let's see, we'll say require Mongoose. And then we're going to create our app variable and set that to Express. And then down here we want to do app.listen. Another thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be deploying to Heroku long before the end of our application. So kind of as we move along, we'll be pushing to our Heroku repository. So right here, let's put our port And again, to use Heroku, we're going to set this to process.env.port or 5000. Okay, and then in here we're going to put in the port number, and then we're just going to put a callback or an arrow function, and we'll do a console.log here. And we'll go ahead and put in our template string. So I'm going to use backticks, and I'm going to say server started on port, and then we'll just put in our port number. All right, so let's go ahead and save that, and then we should at least be able to start it up if we say npm start. Okay, so we get server started on port 5000. Now if I were to open that up, localhost 5000, you'll see we get cannot get slash. And if you guys have been following along, then you know exactly why we're getting that. That's because we have no route to the index page. So let's just go ahead and add that. So we'll go right here and say app.get, and we want to get slash. Okay, that's going to take in a request and response. And then all I'm going to do is say res.send, and we're just going to say it works. All right, now we'll go ahead and stop that, and we can still use NodeMon if you were following along and you have NodeMon installed. If you don't, you can just say npm install -g NodeMon to install it globally, and then you can just run NodeMon. All right, so if we reload now, we get it works. So what I want to do now, which may surprise you, is I want to deploy to Heroku. So I just want to get our application up there. Then when we make changes and stuff, we can then, we can push to Heroku. And a lot of the reason I'm doing this now is because we're going to be working with Google OAuth, and there's some security measures where you need to enter your domain name and your callback and stuff. And as we create it, we're going to have to enter the Heroku domain name as well, so that the authentication will actually work on our remote server. So what we're going to do now is just, let's stop this, and I'm going to open up my standard Windows command line, because if you remember, the Heroku command for some reason will not work right in git bash. And feel free, if you guys know how to fix that, I mean, I could look into it, but if you know how to fix that, you can post that in the Q&A section. So let's see, I'm going to cd into my projects and storybooks. Okay, and then from here, we're going to, if you haven't already, you want to log in. So we'll say Heroku login. And you want to enter your credentials. Let's see, mine was what? Support at traversymedia.com. All right, so now we're logged in. Now, actually, before we do that, we're going to create a git ignore file over here. So we're going to say .git ignore, and we just want to put in here our node modules folder and save, just so it doesn't push the actual node modules folder. All right, so now let's create a Git repository by just saying git init. Okay, so it initialized it. Now we're going to add everything to it by saying git add dash. All right, now we want to commit, so git commit. We're going to add in the AM flag, and we're going to just say initial commit. Actually, I think I need double quotes with the Windows command line. All right. So now that we've done that, what we need to do is we need to create our application with Heroku. So let's say Heroku create. Okay, so it's going to create it, and now I'm going to visit my Heroku dashboard. And floating caverns, this is the VidJot app that we created. This is the new one. You'll see right here it says Mysterious Plains. Yours will be different, obviously. And we want to click on that and go to deploy, and then just grab this line right here where we're adding Heroku as a remote repository, and we're going to go ahead and paste that in. All right, so now that we've done that, we can say git push Heroku master. And it's going to push our application. So you can see deploying is actually very easy. All right, so let's go ahead and say Heroku open. And there we go, we get it works. So our application is now live. So as we move along, we'll be pushing to our remote application. So, you know, I didn't go over everything as in detail because I'm assuming that you watched the last project. You do need Heroku Toolbelt installed in order to use this Heroku command. So make sure that you have that, or that wouldn't have just worked. But yeah, so I think this is a good place to stop. Now we're going to be doing this a little different in that we're going to start off with authentication. Okay, we're going to start off with Google OAuth and Passport and our OAuth strategy, and then after we get all of our authentication, you know, integrated with our application, then we'll move on to, you know, the stories model and creating stories, editing them, and all the CRUD application stuff, or all the CRUD operation stuff. All right, so thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.